Keeping an eye on this for the last few minutes or so. It looks like SkyCal's overhead right now of a stolen vehicle pursuit. We know that LAPD is the agency involved in this one as of right now. This started in South LA, and it's a little hard to tell where we are right now, but Los Cerritos, it looks like the map is pointing us out.
Yeah, we want to get that location as soon as possible for you. It looks like they are probably on surface streets here, right near the 405, it looks like, near Long Beach, Los Cerritos area. So what we know, as Gio said, this is a stolen vehicle. It's hard to make out there. It looks like it's a red sedan that LAPD is pursuing right now at pretty quick speeds. And at this point, we don't have much information on a suspect or suspects. Of course, many times there's multiple people in a car, but at this point, we just know at least the driver is who they're after here.
And of course, when we're dealing with surface streets versus jumping on the freeway, we wonder whether or not this will get handed off to CHP potentially at any point. But maintaining an eye on this as that car is now zooming to close to 80 miles an hour. It did touch the 90s there for a hot second, and now we're in the 80s. But that's that red sedan here that we're keeping an eye on at the moment. Looks like we're on the 710 going north.
Near the Harbor Gateway
but,
area.
I mean, it's you always worry with traffic, especially as we're zoomed in and keeping an eye on everything right now, because as it gets tight, you worry, especially with increasing speeds at this time of night.
Yeah, you see at least two LAPD cruisers behind this car here. And we know many times the question is, will CHP now take over? That will depend on how long this driver stays on the freeway here. Looks like they're getting off the 710 in the North Long Beach area. We're going to watch this and see where this driver goes here.
And it's a little dark, too, on top of all this.
There you go. They got off there, probably on Delamo Boulevard in the Long Beach area there, and now on surface streets here.
And this is the part where, obviously, we start getting really antsy when it comes to maintaining their presence on these surface streets, blowing through lights. That one was green, but at any moment, you could have another car coming through an intersection. But LAPD still in pursuit, close behind as well. That's the cruiser that we see right behind there, and the spotlight overhead. So they're not losing their contact or their eye contact on this vehicle. It almost looked like we had a close call there with one vehicle. But now we're making a left turn, and boy, I mean, it's cutting it close at least a few times so far as we get past this McDonald's.
Now in the Long Beach area, and this is not too far away from South LA, where we know this pursuit first started. Again, wanted for stolen vehicle, but we don't know necessarily the circumstances. But yeah, blowing through these intersections right now. And you can see another thing is the windows look to be tinted on this vehicle as they are now making their way on the opposite side of the road, trying to wrangle their way through some traffic here.
And worth highlighting as well, Leslie made this point earlier, we don't know how many people are in this vehicle right now. Obviously, of course, there's the driver, but oftentimes this early when we jump into a pursuit, we can't really make out more beyond if there's a passenger, there's someone else in the back seat. We're trying to zoom in right now, see if we can get a better look, but those windows are a bit tinted, and just at least the angle we're at, we can't really make out too much beyond just knowing that driver is there right now.
Yeah, interesting thing here. Sometimes we look at the vehicle, right? We know this is a stolen vehicle, at least allegedly by police. It looks like on that vehicle are two probably unique markers. It looks like there's a bumper sticker and another sticker on the back windshield of that vehicle. So that is not something we always see, but definitely identifiers. And at this point, it looks like police are trying to pull back a little bit, and sometimes we see that because they're trying to slow things down.
Right.
This is very dangerous situation, as you're seeing. A lot of people on the roadway still tonight here in the North Long Beach area, and police want to calm things down, although they're still pursuing.
And now they're approaching
the
even closer. Yeah, there was that brief respite of sorts where they sort of pulled back, and now he's making a U-turn and slows things down just a bit. But now it looks like we might be going on the wrong side of the road here, and it just heightens the danger even more so as keep making even more turns. Now down, it looks like we're in a residential area, so it narrows the streets even more.
All right, hello guys. Today we're watching a police pursuit of the stolen vehicle. This is we're doing a live streaming channel for today, and we're doing a live streaming later. They're keeping an eye on it. The driver eventually just started with a pursuit. They picked this pursuit up in South LA, South area. They're speeding up towards 80 miles an hour. Got off the 405 freeway, and then transitioned on the northbound 710 freeway. Speeding up towards 80 miles per hour, getting off the freeway. 6 units behind that red stolen car. This pursuit started in South LA about 5 or 10 minutes ago. This pursuit started with a stolen vehicle in the South LA just about 5 to 10 minutes ago. This pursuit continues on the area, making a U-turn. The windows were tinted, speeding up towards higher speeds. The news and police helicopters following overhead, and the suspect made a U-turn just moments ago. And as you can see there right now, of course, he might have a chance to get back on the freeway. They're just pulling back. They're just a little bit they're going to give LAPD airship enough room. They saw them underneath the news helicopters tracking it, broadcasting live on television. And as you can see, my cameraman and my pilot, who's doing a fantastic job. Now they've got him back. They've got him back out of these neighborhoods, back on the surface streets, Long Beach Boulevard. It was narrow streets and it was dark. Going at 60 miles an hour. Maybe the driver didn't know he or she was going. Now he's on service streets, 60 miles per hour. All these lights, some of them are green. All these vehicles, they don't even know. They're just in the traffic. The traffic is light. And this was Saturday night. All of a sudden, the car starts rising underneath on top of these night sun. The LAPD cruisers still behind them. It starts getting nerve-wracking. It's hard to make out where the driver is right. Where is it a female or a male? We can't tell. That this is the windows are tinted. The vehicle had some damage due to that during the pursuit. They have to pull out. That you could see they are making those sharp turns, 60 miles an hour, very high speeds, veering into the lane. Now in the median, they're definitely in the lanes, very high speeds. Especially on a residential roadway. This is just very uncommon. It's a dangerous situation that you don't know what's coming up. And if you're stopping at a red light, you see the suspect making a sharp U-turn, you gotta pull over, back off, because he's too dangerous. Because you don't know. Because thank goodness no traffic out there. It was Saturday night. If it was, there he could end up with a big traffic because they're now going over some dips and bumps. We don't think that they are armed at this point. That informs a lot of their decision making right. Give them enough space. Been on the surface streets 3 times now, circling the same area over and over again, constantly communicating. Like this is maintaining an eye over because they don't see if they're in the frame. They do see that LAPD cruiser still behind them. They're not gonna get away. In this pursuit, they're in a constant communication crisis. They don't see the LAPD cruiser in the frame of this vehicle zooming out on those cars. There's those markers that they were pointing out earlier with looks like a bumper sticker. These tight turns with their cars on both sides. Just sitting there, then they know mine trails off. They've seen many crashes and collisions, even if it's a parked car. Going past that, even when you hit somebody or when they hit somebody, that could be a problem. You get sentenced when you end up crashing into somebody.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting about this.
And this is what's interesting. Notice with the driver and the passenger, they speed up as well. This is that's interesting. Very reckless driving, felony evasion, crossing underneath the 91 freeway that I'm told now. Wow, been in the North Long Beach Boulevard area for the last few minutes. And in this North Long Beach, you can see that they're going to make that U-turn pretty aggressive back to possibly where it all started. And this is where they were a few moments ago. Then they are kind of staying in that same area, and the antics and the instincts, rebellious behavior going in circles here, continuing on the same main streets. Back in the residential streets, they'll have to see what this pursued suspect does next. This has been going on for about 15 minutes. See the driver eventually going on the wrong side of the road, making a U-turn. Again, this has been going on for about 15. This has been going on for the last 15 minutes or so. You see the driver going into the alleyway, making a U-turn making a left turn the wrong way. and now going to turn left onto East Allington Street, and now is wearing a blue shirt coming out, and then
the window down, did they? Earlier?
I thought it might have looked like
yeah, and as we're told now, this is why they didn't have the window down. The day earlier looks like they didn't, but they couldn't tell if that was that was the tint-hole window or not. They would assume that they would make out the color of that vehicle, the driver's shirt, in the same area 5 times now, 6 times, going through some stop signs, going past that, going at 35, 40 miles an hour, and the mile marker lane eastbound Scott Avenue, the driver continues on, and you have to wonder, thank goodness nobody's outside in the streets, nobody's out of the house, thank goodness nobody's involved, nobody's being a hero. Now they have to turn around, zoom around and keep going. They're still right behind them. The LAPD cruisers still tracking that car overhead with the night sun. And then the other helicopter broadcasting it live on television that we're doing a live streaming. I'm pretending to be a weekend news helicopter reporter because I'm doing this for them as well. And they're in the traffic on a Saturday night, trying to find an alleyway. Look at this. Going to turn left. What is he doing?
Going on to another major street here.
And doing it in a way
Major street here on Artesia Boulevard.
they were trying to get away, but worth repeating once again.
Worth repeating once again.
That you may not see LAPD.
You may not see that LAPD. Wow, making an aggressive U-turn. So we might let you. And their sight on this vehicle, this pursuit, attempts to dodge the police. And I'm told now the hierarchy, the higher authority, then the shots fired. Thank goodness no shots were fired. They were not armed. And as you can see, he's making an aggressive right turn. And again, speeding up fast, 60 miles an hour. I mean, 60 miles an hour, not 100 miles an hour. In the North Long Beach area. And this is what's happening right now. And they're contending with so predicaments. What could happen is that they don't hesitate to be in a hurry is the traffic. Thank goodness nobody's trying to be involved. Everybody's pulling over and heading up the Long Beach Boulevard. And they're gonna see they'll see if they'll go to that same neighborhood when they were a few moments ago. And the only point of the nature, he's gonna end up. They keep looking back. They keep looping it back and forth, 10 or 13 times. What was he doing? He's on White Avenue once again. They're gonna set up a spike strip. Speeds at 42 miles per hour. Wow, making a sweeping left turn. East Allington. And that's where they were in moments ago. I could tell you this though. Thank goodness we're not unstable. We're not unstable. We are stable. Thank goodness no connection issues going on. This is what is on surface streets, is where they take advantage, and it's coming from. Sometimes there are many stolen vehicles across the country when there's a police pursuit across the country, everywhere, across the U.S., when there's a police chase and the news helicopters, when they get arrested, and sometimes when it's on a dash cam videos, or sometimes when there's a camera crew filming the pursuit like it's a cops TV show, and it's the 1990s, 2000s, before the Y2K started, and before that, sometimes there was a police dash cam footage seeing the action when it was aired on Fox in 1990s, long time ago. I've done that on my YouTube channel, long time ago. If you're interested, you want to check out that video pops up here, please do. Because I would suggest you would do it. I suggest you do it as well. So this is the good thing is we do this for a reason. They do this for a reason. And when eastbound Barclay Street, and I can tell you, I'm looking up ahead now. There is a police helicopter flying through our shot. This pursuit has been going on. This pursuit has been going on for about 15 to 12. This pursuit has been going on for about 15-20 minutes since the police started this chase. They started on this pursuit in South LA, got on the northbound 405 before they got overhead, and they got on the 710 freeway, got off the northbound 710 freeway, making a U-turn, driving fast, 60 miles an hour, almost at 80 miles an hour. This is what happens. This pursuit continues on and on again, and turning left onto eastbound Allington Street, where you have to wonder for the reasons of suspect speeding up. How can they negate that? How could they do? Pull a vehicle over, stop. Don't let, and now the LAPD cruisers right behind, now avoiding a spike strip once again. What is he doing? Now there's a police helicopter tracking it overhead, and then 60 miles an hour. I could tell you, he keeps speeding up and up again and again and again and again. Look at this. Been on the Long Beach Boulevard for the last 5 or 6 minutes, and then I could tell you, this is what happens when he speeds up. Eastbound Artesia Boulevard and Long Beach Boulevard. Sometimes our maps get kind of funky when. And now out of the residential area, he's gonna have a chance. He needs to get back on the freeway, or he might be heading home. He can't even seem to just make up his mind. Where is this suspect going? Let you listen now.
Red lights, yellow lights, green lights, and you never really know what's going to happen.
I'll tell you, Gio, what's making me nervous here is that if they continue down Long Beach Boulevard here, they'll hit the Bixby Knolls area, and that's an area that has a lot of restaurants, lined with restaurants, and a lot of people are out at all times, especially on a weekend. And so you just gotta you gotta hope that they aren't going as quickly as they were.
Yep. Because the margin for error then is already near
this area that
non-existent.
has even more pedestrian traffic.
Yeah, you start holding your breath.
You can see people moving out of the way. They're getting that heads up from LAPD and the airship that a pursuit suspect is coming through now through the Compton area.
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking to say the least. On top of worried about every other person that might be out and about, because now even in this moment here on this street on Temple Avenue in Caldwell, they just hit a speed bump. It slowed them down a little bit, picking back up speed, and you have all these cars parked outside of these homes on the side. There's just not much room to maneuver at all. And this vehicle keeps on going. Like there has been no indication that they're planning on stopping, swapping out, or moving around, doing that sort of thing.
I should also correct myself. I was a little disoriented when I was saying going towards the Bixby area. It's not. They're going the opposite direction on Long Beach Boulevard, which is why they've made it to the Compton area.
And still, like even whether it's in this area or elsewhere, like there's all these vehicles we've already noticed. We've lost count at the numbers that are just kind of diverting themselves out of the way at the last second. Now, granted, they're helped by the fact that you see. You see the lights, you see the LAPD cruisers coming down, you see the spotlight overhead, and knowing that something's going on, like you just saw another vehicle get out of the way. And, we've been wondering whether or not this driver's going to take any chance to jump on the freeway. No, if anything, they're just trying, on the sidewalk and trying to avoid that traffic as we get near the train tracks here. I mean,
that's probably the most dangerous maneuver we've seen this driver make thus far, just driving on top right through a sidewalk to get past some traffic, and it just shows you at what lengths this driver will go to try to get away. Although
reckless,
we know,
to say the least.
although we know that's not going to happen. There's LAPD behind. That airship is the most help.
It's
because
been locked in the entire time. Yep.
If those police officers on the ground can't continue to follow this, if they feel like it's too dangerous and they pull back, there's always that airship that will continue following. And if it's a stolen vehicle, they probably have all the information they need, the license plate.
Right.
They're able to, many times, I don't know what kind of vehicle this is. I don't think we've gotten confirmation on it just yet. But if it's a newer vehicle, sometimes there are capabilities to find this vehicle even later. They
have the playbook, essentially. They have all the information. Everything that they need to know is hitting the brakes right now and making a right turn. I was wondering if they were going to do anything a bit more abrupt. But, one of the sort of silver linings that we're seeing here in just the last couple of minutes here as we've gotten into the Compton area is that, at least by our count, a little bit fewer number of cars than we saw when we were in North Long Beach. And, then we had the really reckless and dangerous driving on the sidewalk maneuver just to avoid traffic. And here we are again in a very similar circumstance where you have a residential area with a lot of cars parked on both sides of the road. And I may have seen a speed bump there for a short second earlier at the front end of that road. But, it's dark. We're going 40 plus, 50 plus miles an hour on a Saturday night. Like right now, as Leslie mentioned, the airship, the light, and all the lights coming from LAPD cruisers are really like the big warning sign for anybody who might just be in the area to just be careful and move out of the way. But yeah, this person is just not, another speed bump there, not really giving up and just going. So as you mentioned, it's a matter of time, right? Because there's nothing we've seen to indicate right now that
slowing down at those speed bumps.
That LAPD is, at the most, as we zoom in, do we see someone else in the passenger seat?
I'm trying to make out. It almost looks like there is something pink. Yeah. If that's a person. I'm not sure yet, but it does look like, it does look like there is a passenger. They're on their phone there. Yeah. Maybe wearing a pink shirt or something. It looked like some kind of pink or red color, and then the driver was in blue.
Yeah, so that's the first time we've been able to see beyond knowing that it's just the driver.
Okay, we know at least two people in the vehicle.
At least two people in the vehicle. Stolen vehicle, first reported out of South LA. LAPD's been in pursuit now for upwards. We've been on air now with this for at least 20 plus minutes, so longer than that as we've been trying to keep an eye on this. So at least two. We don't know if it's any more than that, but slowly getting even the damage on the right side of the vehicle. That's something we noticed in just the last few minutes. First, almost primarily above the wheel, but really on the entire right side of the vehicle.
Passenger side. Yeah. You can see some damage near the back passenger window. Oh
boy.
Just swerving in the wrong lanes here.
It might be those speed bumps that are,
Yeah, you take them at such a high rate of speed, it's going to get you there out of control, which is why they're probably trying to slow down a bit. Interesting to note that we have not, since SkyCal got over the pursuit, we have not seen LAPD use any tactics like spike strips, or pit maneuvers, or even attempt to do a pit maneuver. And that's probably because we continue to be in these really narrow residential streets. And it looks like this is another residential street here in Compton.
And they're all narrow. Like there's just simply not enough room to perform anything like that. And of course you have to worry about the danger toward residents, toward their houses, toward anybody who might be out and about. So there hasn't been any indication that that's something they've even tried to do since we got overhead. And then, of course, every time we sort of break out of these residential areas and get onto surface streets like what we're seeing right now, the eye contact, for lack of a better phrase, is even more contained and locked in. But then the speed picks up, and then you have traffic and other things to consider when it comes to
on the opposite side of the road. Once again,
things
Gio.
Like that.
Riding the median, which we've seen this driver do several times. And you can see the spotlight directly on that vehicle. Again, we know two people in the car. Right now we're zooming in on that damage. Take a look. The entire right side of this car looks pretty damaged. We don't know if this happened during the pursuit or before. But you got to wonder, did it happen during the pursuit? Because this driver was taking really sharp turns really quickly. We don't have that answer just yet, but you can see the damage yourself.
And we're also seeing that passenger that we first got an eye on just a couple minutes ago, seemingly just on their phone. And, when we often bring up pursuits when we're thinking about the driver and what that driver may be doing, if they're by themselves or calling friends or doing something else, now, we loop in a passenger who could potentially be doing the same thing, and they're talking amongst themselves.
We don't know. Is the passenger there because they want to be there?
Right. That's certainly a
lot of times
factor.
We have seen the passengers have absolutely nothing to do with the pursuit. They just happened to be in the car when this started. Again, police telling us that the want here was a stolen vehicle. So we don't know if the passenger, are there because they want to be there or not at this point. But we do know, of course, 2 people in the car right now, and police saying this is a stolen vehicle.
Yeah, and right now you also notice that LAPD has, at least just based on the framing of this right now, sort of gave it a little bit more space as we approach 65 miles an hour right now, still in the Compton area. So we've spent a lot of time sort of highlighting how it started in South LA and then hung out in the North Long Beach area for a prolonged amount of time.
Yeah. Almost going in circles, basically.
Yeah, to the point where after the 4th alleyway, you're thinking, okay, they're just kind of caught in a rhythm and caught in a pattern, and it's just going to keep going that way. Only then, in the last 5 to 10 minutes or so, have we now extended into Compton, and it has sort of taken on the same, not the same exact routine, but a very similar one, where we exist on these surface streets for a bit, but get to speeds of 70 miles an hour as opposed to 50 to 60. And then getting occasionally into those residential areas where the only thing really stopping this driver so far has been those speed bumps.
Yeah, that's the only time we really saw them slow down. It looks like either they drove over something or they tossed something out of the vehicle. I saw something roll out there, but unsure if that actually came from the vehicle or they just drove over something. Again, making another sharp turn where they veer into the wrong lanes and they get situated again, but you gotta... we're back in the North Long Beach area.
Yep, there you go.
Back on Long Beach Boulevard. And at this point, I guess just continuing to stay in that same area. You got to, for LAPD and these officers, just how frustrating it is at this point. Although they want to make sure they keep this safe, they want this to come to an end. Are they on the wrong side of the road? No, it's a residential area. Yeah, just very narrow roads.
And now we're sort of, replaying the hits when it came to the last 20 or so minutes, is getting back into the same area they were before and just driving through these neighborhoods where, once again, that question sort of pops back up again of, are they familiar with the area? Because pursuit suspects tend to just hang around the area that they're very familiar with, hoping for any sort of getaway, while on top of everything else, they're just buying themselves time that inevitably will run out at a certain point. And right here, you're slowing down, which is some sort of good news, getting into 25 miles an hour, but now climbing closer to 40. And every time there's an ebb and flow there's a moment you think that we might finally get an end to this pursuit, whether that's LAPD finally either cornering, using a spike strip, or otherwise surrounding this vehicle. And then all of a sudden you make another turn and get away, because there have been moments so far throughout the last half hour or so where it looks like there's a dead end coming up, or maybe it's an end of a cul-de-sac, and then no, there's something else that extends it for just a bit longer.
If you were sexually abused while at school or school activity,
oh my God, I do not want to hear that. Don't.
Yeah,
no.
I was trying to get in touch with our news
thank
desk
you.
here to see if
I
they're
don't need to hear
hearing
this.
anything on their
I
end. A lot of
apologize
times
for
they're
that
keeping their
profanity.
ear
It was
to
a
the
little bit.
scanners.
Please
Mike
forgive me.
Rogers does that during the week to make sure he can keep up with all these pursuits out here. So we're gonna try to connect with them and see if they're hearing.
I've been listening now for the last several minutes. They did avoid spike strips, going around dangerous maneuver, and then going underneath or over the train tracks, speeding up at 75 miles an hour, making a U-turn once again, and he made a right U-turn once again, hitting the brakes, turning right, and then just moments ago left, and then still following overhead is the news and the police helicopters, and then turning was the 2 occupants inside the car. They did make out is the female or a male suspect. First reported out of the South LA was stolen. It was the stolen car. Then avoided spike strips 2-3 times and going over speed bumps. The pursuit. Then the speeds were picked up so many times. Some of the damage during this course of this pursuit is the car looping around circles 10 or 15 times. And I could tell you, they're crossing underneath the freeway as well. They were crossing underneath the freeway transition, made a U-turn, and at 70 to 75 miles an hour, keeps going straight and straight once again. And now making a sharp bend. You can see they just bailed out of the car, and I could tell you this is a female suspect with a ponytail running, making a sharp left turn. Did just 5 or so minutes ago. Just a few minutes ago, I should say, and continuing to stay in the area, getting back in the same area. turning right,
Really
slowing
running
down,
for a long
slowed it
time.
down
It
to
looks like
20
you're
to
gonna
25
go
miles an
back
hour.
here.
He did hit a brake,
Home.
and he wasn't gonna. He
Dangerous
was not gonna make
situation, and
that
it's just
left
gonna come to
corner.
an end
And now they
there.
tackle him. They got him. They got him on the ground. They got him on the ground. They got him on the ground. Thank goodness nobody was killed. Nobody was hurt. All this damage was done is the suspect. He killed somebody and then tries to
I guess took their chances at this point.
took
But
their
LAPD
chances,
officers
didn't want to
able
stop as well.
tackle that
And as you can
suspect.
see, 2 suspects in police custody.
We don't know
LAPD
if, they are compliant
cruisers or
or
Long
not.
Beach PD,
If
LAPD,
we can get
and the
back to
Long
vehicle,
Beach
we may be
PD
able to see
cruisers
if that, yeah,
tackled that
if
suspect
that
on
other
the ground.
person was still in
Now,
the car at the time.
And right now, just taking a look, it's hard to tell. They must have already combed through at least some of the car and keeping an eye on it. But that was something we were going to bring up. That at a certain point we noticed.
at a
that
certain
there
point,
was a
they
second
did notice
person
this was a
in
second
the
pursuit.
vehicle,
I can tell you this though,
maybe on
this
their
pursuit
phone,
went on for
but
about
that
25
also
to
said
30
where they had
minutes.
some
And I would
damage
say
to
this
it, at least
pursuit has been
some
going on for
significant damage. There goes
or
the
so I
driver
think. I'm assuming this
exiting
pursuit
out.
went on for
And then
about
there's a second
35 to
person
40
who looked,
minutes.
oh my goodness,
This
yeah.
pursuit went all the way southbound on 710, the 405 freeway, speeding up at 80 miles an hour and almost at 80 plus miles per hour, trying to get away from the police car, but they caught up to them. Thanks to the police helicopters and the news helicopters, many times the windows were tinted, going around the circles 30 to 40 miles an hour, continuing on the surface streets, so many times, so long. Then 2 occupants inside the vehicle. In the first, it was reported out of the South LA was the stolen car, then speeding up at 75 miles an hour. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to my YouTube channel. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next live streaming later today. Take care, folks. Good day.